Welcome to another episode of the podcast, Ask Holly. I'm joined by Holly Salmon. She is CEO of the Better Business Bureau. And it's that time of year as summer approaches where our attention turns to vacation planning.
Yeah.
So what a great opportunity to talk about tips to avoid scams with your holiday.
Yeah, and any time of year in Florida, we could be taking a long weekend or going on vacation. We have that luxury here because of our weather. But we wanted to give some tips so that people would know when booking their travel how they can best protect themselves, because most of us, if you have money to go away, if you have money for vacation, you've budgeted that money, you have that money set aside, and certainly we don't want consumers to fall victim to scams or misunderstandings that lead to disruption or upset on your vacation. Certainly don't want consumers to waste money or have a bad time on their vacation. And oftentimes a lot of common misconceptions and misunderstandings can cause that to happen.
So one of the red flags can be unsolicited phone calls promising you free trips or dramatically reduced vacations.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of complaints about those sorts of things?
We do, especially from people traveling into Central Florida from other places. If you had not previously planned a vacation, maybe because you couldn't afford it, and you receive an unsolicited phone call offering you a free vacation, understand the old adage is still true, nothing is free. Even if what you're being offered is a legitimate travel offer, understand that there are going to be expenses that come along with it. Oftentimes there will be taxes, there may be different fees associated with it. There may be port charges, things like that. Also understand that if you're have received a phone call about a free vacation, understand what the fine print is. The call that you receive, if they're really rushing you through the decision, that's a red flag. You want to make sure that if you have any obligation, which of course you're going to have an obligation.
Right, they're going to make their money somehow, some
Right,
way.
you're going to have some sort of obligation that you want to understand those obligations before you travel. If you can't see it in writing, BBB considers that to be a red flag. I want you to be able to see in writing what your obligations are. Will I owe money? Is there a presentation I have to attend in order to qualify for this travel or qualify for this free gift or whatever? And what are the details of that presentation? How long will it be? Things like that. So you just want to make sure that if you receive an unsolicited call, that you understand what the fine print might say and what your obligations are. Also, if you receive a call that says you've won a sweepstakes and you have not participated in a sweepstakes, you have not entered a contest, then you did not win a contest. There will be there will be a catch. There will be expenses involved, or, that could be a downright scam. So they're going to ask for money. So you want to make sure, whether it's legit or not, that you understand how much it's going to cost and what the risks are.
So speaking of cost, what is the safest way to pay for a vacation?
Certainly you want to pay for travel with a credit card. If you pay, even if you've budgeted that money and you've put it aside and you've saved it and you want to pay for that directly with your debit card so that you don't have a credit card bill coming a month later, or you feel like you want to pay that through like an automatic draft, the problem there is once the money's gone, the money's gone. Whereas paying with a credit card, there are safeguards in place. You can dispute the charges, things like that. Your credit card also, if you read the fine print on your credit card terms and conditions and your credit card statement, there are also protections afforded to you by your credit card company. Some things that may mimic almost like travel insurance type protections.
Just about every vacation scenario, even airfare, there's always that option to buy travel protection. Do you recommend that, or are there certain red flags in making that decision?
Travel insurance, there is a time and place for travel insurance. Absolutely. I have traveled. I have traveled abroad where the trip had a lot of different legs. There were a lot of different things that could have gone wrong. And certainly it was something that I had saved for, and it was a significant expense. I chose travel insurance for that trip. But you want to make sure that you're choosing it for the right reasons. And also, you want to make sure that you may already have protection through your homeowner's insurance, through your auto, your life insurance, and also credit card benefits offer some consumer protection to you as well. So as long as you've allowed yourself enough time to do your homework, you may find that it's not necessary. Certainly you want to make sure before choosing a travel insurance that you check with Better Business Bureau, because you want to make sure that if you pay the money for the insurance, that the protection is going to be there if you need it.
Now, what about booking through third-party sites? Because this day and age, a lot of people DIY their vacations. They book not through a travel agent, but themselves.
So if you're not going directly through the hotel or the resort site, or directly through the car rental site, or directly through the airline carrier, if you're going through a third party, you want to make sure that you understand all the fine print. You may not be able to cancel that flight. If you cancel it, you may just be out the money. You may not be able to change your plans without a change fee. You want to make sure that even if you do make your hotel reservations through a third party, that you still contact the hotel or resort to confirm your reservations. The last thing you want to do is show up with your suitcase and your family in tow to find out your reservations don't exist.
And what about car rentals? What tips do you have for that?
So you want to make sure with when renting a car that certainly you go with a company that you have done your homework. If it is a brand you don't recognize, you don't want to make that decision standing at the counter. You want to give yourself plenty of time to do your homework. Certainly check with Better Business Bureau and see what experience other travelers have had. When they complained, how did the company respond? What type of complaints did the company have? What type of complaints did the company have?
Right.
How did the company respond to that? What do the customer reviews say? You want to do your homework and make sure that you don't have trouble on vacation. Certainly on vacation, you want to be able to rest and relax, and you don't have all of your resources either out of town or out of the country. So you want to make sure that you've done necessary amount of homework to make your travel as easy as it can be. And oftentimes you'll hear me say it again and again, doing your homework on the front end can make your life a lot easier. But back to renting a car, you want to make sure that when you rent that car, that you take a good look at the vehicle, that you inspect the vehicle before you take possession of it. Take pictures if you feel it's necessary. If you're not able to walk around the vehicle with an agent from the car rental place, take pictures. Also understand what's the deal with tolls. If you're in a state or if you're in a place where tolls are an issue, you want to make sure that you understand, have I taken the toll package? If I haven't taken the toll package, what will the penalty be? Do I have the choice to change that later? If I get out and I realize that stopping at the toll booth and paying with cash is a pain, can I call the company later and change that option? You want to make sure that you understand what the penalties for that might be, because they can add up quickly.
And in terms of going, departing and having all your proper documentation in place, you suggest literally printing out, having in your hand the paper documentation. I know a lot of people rely on their phones for that, but you're saying that's a good idea as well, to have the paper documentation as a backup.
Right. You never know what's going to happen on your travel. If you're on a lengthy flight, or if you have a layover and you have drained your cell phone and you have not been able to recharge it, and then you get to a ticket counter, or you get to the car rental place, or you get to the hotel, and you don't have access to those digital documents anymore, you could be in trouble. And you could say, no, that's not what I agreed to. That's not what I said. That's not the rate I agreed to pay. It's your word against theirs, and you may be just tired and stressed out enough that you agree to something you regret later. So having it printed out when you've had the time to think clearly before you've traveled, before you've been tired, you're tired, you're hungry, everybody just wants to get to the hotel, you may really save yourself in having a printed copy of your contracts, your receipts, your reservations, any phone numbers you might need, because again, if you or your child drains that phone or that device during travel, during the flight, you may not have the documents that you need to claim the vehicle that you reserved online, or book into the hotel at the rate that you had agreed to online, or even prove that you had a reservation to begin with. So printing it, in this case, doing it old school is the best way.
Any other takeaways, vacation planning tips that you'd like to share?
You want to make sure when choosing a place to stay that particularly that you do your homework. You want to make sure that if you're booking with a home sharing site online, read the reviews that other people have posted. If you're going through a vacation rental company, check with Better Business Bureau. See what other consumers have experienced.
Good idea.
Did they have a great experience, or did they have problems? Sometimes their problems won't relate to you and may not be an issue for you. But if you allow yourself time, then you can make a reservation that is the best fit for you and your family and your travel needs, instead of getting to the other end and realizing it doesn't really fit your needs. It's more expensive than you expected. Maybe it's not in the greatest section of town, things like that. So you want to make sure that you do your homework before you leave home, because at home you have all the resources at your fingertips. You have your records, you have your computer, you can sit at your desk comfortably and make decisions. Once you get on that airplane, or once you get to the other end of that road trip, you kind of feel like you've left a lot of those resources behind.
Right.
So you want to make sure you do the research at home.
And I love what you always say. Most people can't afford to make the same mistake twice.
Right.
So rely on the Better Business Bureau if you have questions or concerns in the planning process.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That is great information as people plan their vacations, whether it's holiday, summer, or their spring trips.
Yeah.
Lots to remember and keep in mind, but really it's just about dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Spend the money, take the time, and enjoy your time off. We want people to spend their money. We want them to enjoy their stay. We want them to enjoy their travel, but we want them to spend it wisely,
right.
So that's good for them, and that's good for the businesses as well.
All right, so if you have a question, or you perhaps have a suggestion for a future podcast for Ask Holly, send Holly an email at askholly@wkmg.com. And of course, be sure to check back regularly on clickorlando.com for more of Holly's great information and tips from the Better Business Bureau. Thank you so much.
Thank you.